In this video, I'm going to show you the most invaluable tools you'll need when fitting laminate or vinyl plank flooring. The first up is a laser level. This is essential in order to get your first row of laminate flooring or luxury vinyl plank flooring in a straight line. Simply put your laser at one end, line it up with your planks of flooring, and it gives you a great starting point so the rest of your floor carries on nice and straight. This is one of the cheapest tools and probably the most invaluable tool whenever you're fitting any kind of flooring. When you get to your walls and you're trying to fit your last plank, you need something to go behind your laminate flooring or your vinyl flooring, and then you can actually use a hammer. This is the hammer that I've chosen. It's got rubber ends, so it's a lot softer to work with. And then you can actually tap your plank back to get a nice tight join up against your two pieces of flooring. This isn't so much a tool, but it's something you'll definitely need. So this is a box of plastic packers. The good thing about this box is it has packers of all different sizes. You'll need to use your packers when you start working up against your walls. So when you're setting your first row, you'll need to put some packers behind your flooring in the right location to hold everything straight. And if you can, it can also be beneficial to use some little wedges. Your laser level and your packers are really essential when you're starting to lay your vinyl or laminate flooring. Although we've got our laser level, a long spirit level is incredibly useful for making sure that all your rows of flooring are nice and straight. You can see the join we've got here between our two planks, and we want to make sure that this row is perfectly straight. So take your 6-foot spirit level, place it in the middle of the joint, and as long as your spirit level touches the flooring all the way along, you know you've got your row nice and straight. I normally use this technique as I'm working my way along the flooring to make sure all my rows are straight as I go along. You don't want to start running out of line and then it can be difficult to clip your planks into place. Everyone tells you that you'll need a Stanley knife in order to cut your vinyl plank flooring, but the biggest tip I can give you here is always make sure you've got a spare box of fresh Stanley knife blades. It makes it a lot easier to cut through your flooring, and it can be incredibly difficult to cut vinyl plank flooring, and you might need to score it a number of times. So always have a fresh pack of Stanley knife blades. They don't cost you anything, but they might save you a trip to A&E. Often when you're fitting your vinyl plank or laminate flooring, you'll have to cut some boards at an angle. So there are two ways to try and find this angle. There's this modern angle finder by Trend, and then we've also got our trusty sliding bevel. So all you do is if you're laying this flooring, you want to find the edge of the plank, so we can see this plank here. You want to line up your sliding bevel along there, tighten up the little screw, and that is now set to the angle that you need to cut your boards at. So you just want to take it to your plank and do a mark, and then you know exactly what angle to cut each board at. This angle finder does the exact same thing, but it'll actually give you a digital readout of the angle, and you can then use that to set your miter saw to the correct angle to cut your boards. It's essential to have a good vacuum on any construction job, and there's a reason that lots of tradesmen and cleaners use a Henry Hoover. So I've actually got this attachment on to help clean my floor. It's important that you vacuum up the floor area before you start laying your flooring, because if you get any little bits of dirt in the joint, you'll find that your planks will struggle to close together. So always make sure you get a vacuum and you keep hoovering the construction site. Whenever you cut your vinyl plank flooring, you might get little bits of dust. So you want to make sure that the site's well vacuumed, because one small bit of grit in between your two floorboards can ruin your entire floor. These are two hand tools that also no one tells you about. We've got a standard square, so when we need to cut our boards to length, we can just hook our square onto our board. We just put a mark on there. You can flip your square around, put a mark on there. You feel a lot more like a joiner, and then we can cut that piece off. Another useful tool is the combination square. This does exactly the same thing. And if I was to pick one tool, it would definitely be the combination square, as we're in the UK. Because you can draw a line with it like that, as before. And you can also use it, if you want to rip a board down to 60mm, you can set your combination square to 60. You can put a little mark on there, and you can actually run along all the way up your board, and that will give you a nice like 60. So the combination square has slightly more uses. The only benefit to the triangular square is that you can actually run your saw up against it, but that's less of a DIY tip and more of a pro tip.